Selfie Lappartient should resign. Step down as UCI president. You see, while he was teaching young cyclists how to take better selfies and further aggrandising his power at the last UCI World Congress, spouting with speeches about improving the safety and mental health of young cyclists, Muriel Furrer, an 18-year-old Swiss rider with the Bix Performance race team, lost her life in the World Junior Championships, just a few kilometres from the pavilion where Selfie Lappartient had claimed boldly that his priority was to protect young cyclists. Now, just as we saw with the recent tragedies of Gino Mader and André Dreger, we accept that crashes are inherent to cycling. They happen. It's a risky sport, there are risks everywhere, and of course, no one is to blame for young Muriel falling on a course where the weather could have affected the conditions for a cyclist with so little experience. But nevertheless, in these situations, it's natural and it's necessary to demand responsibility, to ask questions about what's happened. It's easy to see that somebody is trying to hide evidence of what happened to prevent senior officials of the UCI and Selfie Lappartient himself, who, remember, ran for election for president of the IOC, well, he doesn't want to end up tarnishing his image, does he? An image which is really hiding a rotten interior. How many more lives have to end before Selfie stops talking to us about safety and actually gets to work and does something? Oh, and where was Adam Hansen, the popular cyclist meme who spouted off so many times talking about protecting cyclists? Where's he been hiding for the past couple of days? Subscribe to the channel for more cycling content, and of course you can follow us on our Twitter account, @UncleCycling. And now, let's analyse this case in detail. First, we had to find out from local media, such as Blick, what really happened. According to this Swiss media outlet, no one knew about the fall of young Muriel Furrer at the time. There was no rescue operation around the wooded area where the tragedy occurred until an hour after the race had ended, when a helicopter landed in the area to attend to the young rider. In other words, now we can understand why Kat Ferguson, the double World Junior champion, celebrated her success with so much unbridled enthusiasm. We can understand why the mother of Paula Austis, the World Junior runner-up on that day, was so proud and happy for her daughter at that moment. You see, none of the competitors knew anything about Muriel Furrer at that moment. Neither did the fans. They only found out many hours later that the Swiss junior was fighting for her life in a hospital. The journalists who were present, they didn't know either. The newspaper Blick, they got their testimony from a journalist via one of those men who ride motorcycles and who passed several times through the area where the fall had happened, as it was a circuit which the riders had to make several laps of. Now the journalist, anonymous of course for fear of the bite of the dinosaurs of the UCI, claimed not to have seen anyone trying to rescue Muriel. It seemed that she'd vanished, that she had disappeared from the face of the earth. Another local media outlet, Gruppetto magazine, told us about how complicated it was trying to get information about the incident. The local police, they wouldn't give them any information. Instead, they referred them to the prosecutor in charge of the case. The organisers, the UCI itself, remember. We also have to remember, of course, that it's based in Switzerland, the country where this incident occurred and where the UCI have so much power. Well, it was obvious they didn't want to answer any questions about what had happened. It's a classic situation where instead they prefer to sweep the inconvenient truths under the carpet. Now, of course, one of their number was Selfie Lappartient, who, on the day that we're making this video, held a pathetic press conference, limiting himself to expressing his condolences to Muriel's family and then turning the page as quickly as possible because he is not interested in giving explanations. He knows that his name will end up with a black mark at the side of it, because he knows that he is a useless, incompetent man who has made decisions in recent months that have clearly influenced the death of Muriel Furrer. You see, in recent months, Selfie has dedicated himself to creating absurd and controversial measures in the sport of cycling. Those yellow cards, what have they done? Well, they've only served to raise money. Eliminating professional cyclists from the Under-23 World Championships, reducing that competition to an amateur one, and therefore everyone loses interest in it. Oh, and above all, the elimination of radios in this type of race. Now we understand about the elimination of radios in races like the Tour de France, where the media coverage is extensive and the cycling teams are formed of 8 riders and all the team managers are more than prepared for any inconvenience or mishaps or anything unexpected happening. But races on the scale of a junior world championships, where the coverage and the number of riders per team and the presence of ambulances and security is much, much less, is that really a wise move? Now, with radios, someone could have communicated that they'd seen Muriel fall, or that the young Swiss cyclist hadn't passed through various checkpoints. It would have streamlined everything and made it so much faster for her to get the attention that she needed. The Spanish cyclist and hard worker Juan Ayuso said yesterday in an interview that the lack of basic facilities such as GPS, which every 5 minutes would indicate the position of the cyclist, is absolutely shameful. A cyclist in this day and age cannot go for an hour without having been attended to. A life could have been saved, and clearly it hasn't been saved. And if there is one thing that all cycling lovers agree on, those who do not care that there is doping and those who are anti-doping, they're united in that, well, none of us want more avoidable deaths in cycling. We don't want to see families and teams and fans suffer for the loss of cyclists who are just trying to fulfill their dream. And while you see them, selfie, you limit yourself to making embarrassing shows like Races for Peace, and then you take pictures with celebrities to gain more power and poke on the celebrity circuit. And then in a few years' time, you'll be taking the Cycling World Championships to the women's paradise that is the Arabian Peninsula. Oh, and also, while you have such good contacts, you'll be taking them to Rwanda next year, won't you? A dictatorship where citizens live oppressed and where there's, well, something less than transparency of government. But nevertheless, you will earn fresh piles of money, and it all helps to support your candidacy for the Olympics. Now, yesterday, I was so angry and sickened I didn't want to make a video. I wanted to be calmer, so that I wouldn't say anything that I would regret later. But you know, I'm still angry, Selfie. I'm still pissed off at you and your ilk, the guys in suits who dedicate themselves to becoming millionaires, and the others, the ones you happily use as marionettes by taking them along to the places where you get paid the most. They have to risk their lives. They leave it all on the road. And you don't seem to give a damn. Resign, Selfie. Resign now. You're the worst thing that's happened to professional cycling in the last 10 years, at least. Muriel Furrer, rest in peace. May this video and your fight from wherever you are serve to change things. We will never forget you.